Have you ever held a tiny seed in your hand and just wondered, how? How does the entire blueprint for a massive tree fit inside something so small? It really does feel like magic, but it's actually this masterpiece of biological engineering. So let's dive in and uncover the microscopic secrets behind how a simple seed transforms into a complex living system.
It all starts with something we've all seen, right? This tiny little sprout, just pushing its way out of the soil. But how on earth does it get from this to a full-grown plant, a towering tree? Well, to answer that, we've got to zoom in, way in, and explore the hidden architecture that makes it all possible. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the big picture, a plant's two separate worlds. Then we'll zoom in, level by level, from its growth engines down to the single cellular building block, then to the specialized teams they form, and finally, we'll see how it all comes together into one incredible living system. Okay, first up, let's look at the most basic, fundamental division in a plant's life, the part we can see and the part we can't.
So pretty much every vascular plant is split right in two. Above the ground, you've got the shoot system. That's all the stuff we see, the stems, the leaves, the flowers, and it's super busy capturing sunlight and making energy through photosynthesis. But then below ground, you have the root system. This is the hidden anchor, the part that's pulling in all the water and nutrients needed to fuel all that growth up top. They're two totally different worlds, but they work in perfect sync.
So we know a plant has a top half and a bottom half. But where does the growth actually come from? Let's zoom in a little closer and find the plant's perpetual construction sites. Now, you might think it just kind of grows everywhere all at once, but that's not really how it works. Plants are incredibly efficient. They focus all their growth into very specific, superactive zones. So what are they?
They're called meristems. Meristematic tissue is basically made of undifferentiated cells. You can think of them like blank slate stem cells, but for plants. Their one and only job is to divide, over and over, creating new cells. These are the plant's 24/7 construction zones, constantly building the plant from the ground up and the top down.
And of course, plants have different construction zones for different jobs. Apical meristems are all about primary growth. That's making the plant taller and the roots longer. Lateral meristems, on the other hand, handle secondary growth, making the trunk and branches get thicker and wider over time. And then you've got intercalary meristems, which you find at the base of stems and leaves. They're why grass, for example, can grow back after you mow it.
And if you look here, you can actually see these growth engines in action. See that apical meristem right at the very tip of the shoot? That tiny little cluster of cells is what's pushing the plant higher and higher towards the sun. And way down below, there's another one at the tip of the root, driving it deeper into the soil, searching for water. It's like a two-front construction project happening at the absolute extremes of the plant. Okay, we've found the construction zones. Now let's zoom in even further. It's time to meet the individual workers on the site, the fundamental unit of all plant life.
And here it is, the plant cell. Every single one is a microscopic, self-sufficient factory. It's got a nucleus with the DNA blueprint, a big vacuole for storing water, and most importantly, these little green powerhouses called chloroplasts. Those are the actual sites where photosynthesis happens. Literally every single process, from growth to making energy, it all starts right here.
Now this is where it gets really cool. Plant cells have this superpower called totipotency. What does that mean? It means a single specialized cell, from a leaf, a stem, anywhere, has all the genetic information it needs to grow into an entirely new plant. Yeah, you heard that right. One cell can become a whole new organism. It is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it.
Okay, so we have these incredible, all-powerful cells, but they don't just work alone. Now let's see how they organize themselves, how they assemble into specialized teams to get the bigger jobs done.
These teams are called tissue systems, and there are three main types. The easiest way to think about them is like this. You have the plant's skin, its body, and its plumbing. So you've got the dermal tissue on the outside, the ground tissue filling everything up on the inside, and the vascular tissue running through it all like a network of pipes.
So let's start with the skin, the dermal system. This is the plant's first line of defense. It's usually a single layer of cells called the epidermis, and it's often covered in a waxy coating called a cuticle to keep the plant from drying out.
This system also has specialized cells, like those tiny root hairs that are amazing at absorbing water, and the guard cells that open and close pores to let gases in and out.
Next up, we move inside to the plant's body, the ground system. This stuff fills all the space between the skin and the plumbing, and it does most of the metabolic heavy lifting. It's made from 3 different cell types, each with a specific job. First, you have parenchyma cells. These are the general-purpose workhorses, doing everything from photosynthesis to storing food. Then there's collenchyma. Think of these as the plant's flexible skeleton. They provide support but can still bend, which is why a celery stalk is both crunchy and stringy. And finally, you get sclerenchyma cells. These are the heavy-duty support beams. Their walls are incredibly thick and rigid, so tough in fact that the cells are often dead when they're mature, leaving behind a hard, woody structure. That's what gives a pear its gritty texture.
And that brings us to our final, most complex system, the plant's plumbing. This is the intricate network that transports everything the plant needs to survive.
And this plumbing system basically has 2 main pipes. You've got the xylem, which is responsible for pulling water and nutrients up from the roots all the way to the top of the plant. Then you have the phloem. That's the food delivery service, transporting all the sugars made during photosynthesis from the leaves down to every other part of the plant that needs energy.
The xylem really is like a one-way highway just for water, and it's an amazing feat of physics. Water gets absorbed by the roots, pulled up the stem through these tiny xylem tubes, and then it evaporates from the leaves. That evaporation creates a tension, kind of like sipping through a straw, that can pull a continuous column of water hundreds of feet into the air. It's an unbelievably effective and totally passive transport system.
So, there you have it. We've journeyed from the whole plant all the way down to its individual cells, and now back up to its complex systems. Let's move to our final section and see how all of this just beautifully comes together.
Let's just quickly recap our journey of scale. We started with the plant, split into its root and shoot systems. We found the construction zones, the meristems, that power all new growth. We zoomed into the individual building blocks, those amazing totipotent cells. And then we saw how those cells assemble into specialized teams, the dermal, ground, and vascular tissues, that all work together to create a single, intricate, and fully functioning organism.
From a single seed to a complex system, it's just this journey of incredible scale and specialization. And it leaves you with a final thought, right? If a single plant cell holds the power to regenerate an entire organism, what other profound secrets is the natural world hiding? Right there in plain sight.